Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Bubblegum Reviews. My name is Steve, and tonight's review will be on the movie here next to me. We have Halloween, the John Carpenter version. This is the third movie on my This Is Halloween 2022 watch list. This is a first-time watch for me. I just, growing up, was never really grew up around the Halloween thing, so we never really watched Halloween movies. I think the only movie I can remember watching as a kid was either probably Beetlejuice and I think Casper. I didn't remember either of them really that much, so those will be eventually getting watched. Maybe this year, maybe not. Um, Jamie Lee Curtis is the only known person in this that I'm familiar with. A little quick summary into this is this is about Mike Myers, who's growing up, and one night he's on Halloween, he just decides to murder his sister. Well, he ends up going away for it, and years later he escapes custody and heads home to wreak havoc on the town he grew up in. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get right down to this. So, first things first about this is Jamie Lee Curtis did a really good job in this. I can tell she's really young. She did a good job. I liked her character. She was definitely relatable. The smoking in the car scene was pretty funny. The car that her friend drives is totally a badass car. Like, that is a car that I would love to own. The color, the brown, like, I've never thought a brown car looked good, but that looked really good on that car. Anyways, the cinematography in this was actually good. There was some scenes, I shouldn't say actually good, it was good. There was a scene in this where you totally see, like, I think it's like in front of the house and the grass is really green and the shot just focuses perfectly on it. Man, that was fantastic. I'm a sucker for when there's a nice fresh cut green grass and it just looks really good. But yeah, the score in this, I am sad to say, I wasn't a fan of. John Carpenter, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of your scores, like They Live. I got that shit on Spotify. Prince of Darkness, I got that shit on Spotify. I haven't seen The Thing yet, so I can't have that on Spotify until I listen to it. But anyways, the score in this, everything was just too relatable. I felt like there was 2 or 3 songs that he was just kind of adding stuff here and there for the most part. But overall, this movie was enjoyable. It's definitely a slasher style film. I was not really a huge fan of how they were moving Mike Myers around in the movie. I did like the mask and everything, but overall I felt like that part of it just I didn't care for it. I've never been a fan of these style movies, so it's definitely working against my wanting to give this a good grade, but I will say this is definitely, I can see why it's a classic. I can see why people enjoyed it. But yeah, it's an enjoyable, I will say it's enjoyable considering it's around Halloween time. I've been getting more and more into the Halloween spirit. Well, I shouldn't say the spirit, but more and more into the holidays, especially as I get older. When a holiday comes around, I just want to be like, all right. But anyways, yeah. So the other thing, the guy who plays Dr. Loomis actually did a good job. I got something to kind of tell you about with the whole Dr. Loomis thing near the end, but he did a good job. I enjoyed his role. I did like how they kind of bounced around between Loomis, the girl, and Myers, and just I felt like those were really filling in each one pretty good. So I did like that. Director in this, we have John Carpenter, who's also done The Thing, which I have not seen. He's also done Prince of Darkness, which I have not seen. I do want to see both of those. One of them based solely off of how good the score is. He also did They Live. Are you kidding me? I own it. I love it. It's my freaking bubblegum reviews. That's how this whole thing came to be. And what's the other one? Christine. I think I watched that last Halloween. I'm not going to say I enjoyed it because it was okay. IMDb gave this a 7.7 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 96%. Dog Bones gave it a 3.5 out of 4. Those are some damn good reviews. If I was basing this solely off of how I felt this movie was, I'd give it a round there score. But being that I'm basing off of that and my enjoyment, I give it a 5.5 out of 10. Overall, I know it's the Halloween season time. I know I'm a little early, but I've never been a huge fan of these style movies. I really haven't. So it's kind of hard trying to get me into it. I don't know. Maybe next time I watch it, I'll be like, oh, I actually enjoy this more this time. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a bigger grade. We'll see. Reasons I'd tell you to watch it: Jamie Lee Curtis. And if you're a fan of John Carpenter, definitely watch it. You're not going to find a lot of people that are giving it as low as I did, because it's a classic. It really is. I can see why it is. It's one of the early stages of a slasher film, and it did really well. I just wasn't as impressed as other people. So box office is $70 million on a budget of $325,000. That is damn impressive. A budget that low and they pulled out that film, that is impressive as hell. That is the part to me where I was just like, what? So it made $69.6 million. That's pretty damn good. Kudos to John Carpenter and everybody involved. That is super cool. My leg is falling asleep. But a little interesting fact, going back to Dr. Loomis, one of the people that auditioned for the role was Christopher Lee, and he ended up turning it down because of his lack of interest. Well, not lack of interest, but just for his reasons. And now later on he said that is the main role he regrets turning down, is that role. And man, I wish he wouldn't have turned it down, because I would have loved to see Christopher Lee playing Dr. Loomis. I am not taking anything away from the guy who did it, because he did a good job. He was one of my favorites in the film. But Christopher Lee, man, I could just see him playing that role based off of the roles he's done in other movies. And it would have been amazing. But with that being said, that's it for this review. So up next, I do believe, unless something changes, up next I will be watching Jeepers Creepers. So stay tuned for that. I've seen it quite a few times. I've always enjoyed it. I know it's not a great film, but I've always enjoyed it. There's parts in it that I'm like, this is so cool. So that'll be next, most likely, unless something changes. You'll see on my next review. So you guys have a good night. Thank you for my new subscribers. Check out my Letterboxd and my eBay, and thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.